Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, they make it seem like it's a person in a fight. You've already knocked them out. They're down on the floor. Neither of their legs work because you kicked out their legs. They're painting it like the Monty Python of the guy with no arms and legs going, "'Tis is but a scratch," and that's the way that Iran is operating. So, you can put this one down on your list of complete and total lies from the regime, because we'll see how much more we lose if we continue to fight them and pretend like they're just totally out of the fight. All right, what do I got next for everybody? We got more on this topic. All right, here's some ideas for how we can actually deal with Donald Trump and all the chaos that we have to listen to from the regime. And this is from The Hill, and, it verifies something that I had said earlier about Donald Trump. So I'll read it first, then I'll comment, and then I'll go to the chat because it's very active. We'll see what you guys are getting into. The Hill. One person we talked to said, "Look, when the president asks for something twice, we have an unofficial rule, which is that we do it," Parker said in a recent podcast. And I said, "Well, why twice?" And they said, "Well, to be fair, he does a lot of crazy things, but if he says it a second time, we know he's serious. And we know regardless of whether it's to fire the board of the Kennedy Center and take it over or potentially march on Greenland, if that's what he wants, we are there to make that happen." And I had a boss like that once where I would wait for a second request because they said insane shit all the time. And so if they didn't come back and it was still on their mind a week later, then you knew that it was a direction the company was going in. And if not, it was just some ADD, frantic, insane moment. But I've been saying for a while, maybe what we need to do with Donald Trump is just, maybe what we need to start doing is recording Donald Trump and then just playing that information like a week later. Just don't listen to it the day it comes out because he's just saying insane shit and he's not going to stand by it. Whatever Donald Trump says within a 24-hour period, there's no reason of even absorbing and criticizing because he's not going to stand within a 24-hour period. I wonder if someone can run, if you're a statistician, run an analysis on how many things within a 7-day period Donald Trump still stands by. Maybe there's a way that we could just take in everything Donald Trump, like, the monthly, the weekly, and the daily scorecard of how many things he just flip-flops in within those time periods, and then we can come to a better understanding of when to actually tune into Donald Trump or which version of Donald Trump is the version that he's going to actually move forward with. There's the day of who says the insane thing. There's the day later when he just doubles down. Then there's the 3 days later where he somewhat walks it back. And then the 4 days later where he claims that it was already done. I mean, there's just, there's got to be some sort of a way that we can study the data on this and just have a better platform for knowing what Donald Trump's actual agenda is and stop just taking in all the lunacy of things that he says day of. I mean, it's remarkable to have a president. It's on the level of Joe Biden, fully dementiaed, and he would make statements and the White House would go, well, that doesn't represent the White House, as if the White House was its own independent entity. And so now Donald Trump doesn't actually represent Donald Trump. And so if Donald Trump said anything today, it doesn't mean anything until he confirms it. We need the Donald Trump 24-hour confirmation where we call him up and go, "Hey, you made this statement. Are you still standing by?" It's a full 24 hours later. Are you still standing by that one? All right, let's take some comments and then we'll move on with more of our coverage of the Iran war. Student 171625. Was the goal making Iran stronger and more united? Well, listen, if they got to declare victories, maybe they'll turn around and say, we always wanted a more united Iran. John Popick, Robbie worked for Trump. Well, no, it wasn't Trump. Corn Pop Pomenade. I'm starting to come around to the idea that it's just market manipulation. Well, it's something that we've joked around on this podcast. I think they're seizing the opportunity for market manipulation. I don't think they actually got involved in this mess to manipulate markets, because I think there's plenty of profit and grifting opportunities out of the United States government that they can't be this evil that they would get us into this size of a mess just so that they could front run markets and grift a little bit more profit out of the system before they collapse the whole thing. I just think that there's enough other ways for them to grift. Donald Trump can launch another Bible. He can sell more sneakers. He can sell another Melania coin. He can have Melania do another documentary. He's got so many more avenues for continuing to pimp out Melania before he needs to explore, hey, let's go start a war, open the straits, close the straits, reopen the straits, then close the straits, then bomb them, then say we're not bombing them, and just continuously front run the markets. I can't believe that they're that desperate for money and that they can't come up with better ways to grift off the system, that they would go through with that just to front run markets. I believe that once this is happening, some people are seizing on the opportunities to do some insider trading, but I don't think they did it with that actual intent. Pumpkin 08K, the stupid blonde lady told them they lost. What more do they need to know? Yeah, you know, if someone could just get that message to the people in Iran who are currently putting up a hell of a fight and making a real mess for Donald Trump. If maybe they don't understand that they lost, and so maybe if they can have Caroline Levitt yelling at them, they would actually come to their senses. All right, let's move on with the show. And for anyone who likes to support our program, we're going to be doing like an extra probably 20 or 30 minutes at the end of the show at robbernsteincomedy.com. It's all $5 to subscribe. And I'm starting to play around with like ChatGPT more and try and get some new merch going. And I created this incredibly stupid mug. So if you're hoping for something that somewhat resembles my face in an Alice in Wonderland dress with a kind of trippy style, you can pick that up on my website. And that's a pretty good mug. I'm excited to drink some coffee from it, and not even expensive. I just mark things up $5 and then it's shipping and whatever it costs for the cheap crap from China until Donald Trump tariffs the hell out of it. I also put them on a pair of horrible shoes if you're a lady. They only had lady shoes and they're on sale. I was like, that could be fun. Anyway, support the show. robbernsteincomedy.com or robbernsteinmerch.com. Junior Toxicity. Who has better looking women, Iran or Israel? You know, for as ugly as Jew broads are, the Israeli ones are pretty hot. I haven't spent enough time in Iran, and there aren't enough footage of their women not in burqas for me to comment. But Israeli broads are pretty. Israeli broads have a look to them. Generally speaking, Jew broads, not really my cup of tea. And the Israeli broads, you can't date them because then you're just like, ah, shit, I invited Mossad into my life. Can't even sleep with them, you know? You gotta, someone tells you you're from Israel, you gotta put up your anti-Semitic front, you gotta show them your bald head, and you gotta let them know, I'm good. But the Israeli broads, there's some hot Israeli broads. The Iranian broads, you know, I don't know. They got to get them out of the burqas. Then we can finally do a comparison. All right, and now here's another idea for how we could potentially end this war and, you know, just keep Donald Trump away from really tariffs and all the other messes that he's brought upon our country. And I'll roll a clip and then I'll tell you guys my suggestion for, you know, how we can better direct Donald Trump's energies so that we don't have to deal with these massive, wide-scale negative changes to our country. Roll a clip.
That's a beautiful tractor. That's a gold tractor. Somebody had me in mind. What's that all about? That's a hell of a tractor. I'm looking at this. That's a good one, too. Red, white, and blue. But somebody really hit me with that one. That's beautiful. Wow. So.
And that, you know what we got to do? We have to just somehow ADD Donald Trump off of these topics. Like CNN's got to run an article like we found Atlantis. Kim Jong-un's going to take it. Nobody in the world thinks Donald Trump can get to Atlantis first. Actually, we've got a magical secret document here that says that whoever can put their name in gold on more things gets to claim the treasure from Atlantis. And Donald, I'm so good at putting my name in gold on things. That was made for me. I'm going to claim the treasure for Atlantis for the American people. Everyone's going to be so happy when I get it. I'm so good at putting my name on gold on things. All right, and I got to play this next part because, you know, you guys can have fun with this. You can reclip it. You can take out the background. You can slap it wherever you'd like. But out of context, oh, my God, in terms of just the scandalous Epstein claims that, you know, were thrown out by the FBI and said that that they were, you know, not from credible witnesses, but just in terms of things that you don't want out of your mouth, I like the unused 10-year-old ones better. It's just, you got to be a little bit more careful. I know you're talking about a tractor, but that's just not the kind of things you want to say for the internet to then play around with. So let's roll that clip.
When you buy a tractor today, you spend 50% of your time fixing the environmental impact statement garbage that's on the tractor. In fact, I buy a lot of things that having to do with farm equipment, where I own clubs and other things. And I said, give me 10-year-old equipment. Do you have any 10-year-old equipment that hasn't been used yet?
Tell me that doesn't sound bad.
And whenever they had it, I would buy it.
I love unused 10-year-old equipment.
Because it was much better than the new stuff, which has so much environment.
All right, I've had enough of that one. All right, what else we got, producer man? I know we got more show. Trump's 15-point point Iran truce plan would let one terrifying threat slide. And I envision that Donald Trump sent the 15-point plan to them and said, if you don't agree to that, I'm sending you a 30-point plan, young mister. Gonna go up to 45. Give it another week. It's going to be a 60-point plan. And I don't think we ever actually saw